Do you want to rev your SR20 to 8,000 RPMs? What do you need? A good set of cams and then some solid lifters from Tomei or someone like that. Today, we are going to custom shim a whole set of Tomeis into this new head, which means I'll show you how to custom cut some shims or guides because we are doing a dual guide mod to these rockers. I will show you how to set that up. Then we will drop in a set of Tomei 260 cams and I will show you how to lash those accordingly, all with these solid lifters. Okay guys, it's not that hard. It is just tedious. Let's go ahead and jump in. We finally have everything we need, including dummy kit or a test kit of shims from Tomei with 2.8 or 2.7 millimeter shims. We have a bunch of extra shims and guides that we can cut down using 1000 grit sandpaper and get the exact thickness we need. So it's really not all that much different than doing hydraulic shims, these solid Tomeis. Once we level those rockers, we are going to have to set the cams in, measure the distance between the cam and the rocker itself, and then raise or lower those rockers accordingly. So first step, I've gone ahead and blown up a hydraulic lifter. Best way to get these off is to just pinch that locking tab right on the corner with a pair of pliers. Grab a dial gauge, clean this up because we're gonna do a little tack weld. Take that bottom part of the lifter and slide it over. Tack, tack. And we are able to hook up the dial gauge, set it into place here, and measure the tip of each of these valves, starting with the first one, and then getting the measurement of its corresponding valve. Then we move to the second one, zero it out here, get the measurement of the corresponding valve. That way we can get all of these rockers completely level before we adjust the heights with the cams in it. You can tell, see that zeroed out, as soon as we move it over to its brother, that one is out pretty severely. Like, is that 8 thousandths out? So I'm gonna go ahead and write that one down. Everything was basically within 0.05 of a millimeter of each other. Like I said, the 0.025 is where we need to be. So we're going to have to make some corrections. And by corrections, I mean we're gonna sand some shims. Got the test shims, got some extra stock stuff here. And then we have, of course, all of the ones that came out of the motor that were already measured as well. But for testing, we're cutting shims because we are not going to be using these when we are actually done with the engine. We are going to a dual guide setup. All right, so we are starting on the intake side, and I have already sent the dial gauge down and we got all of our measurements. Everything was a little bit smaller on the second valve. So as you can see, these were the same. We're gonna add a little bit here, here, and here, 0.06 or 0.05 of a millimeter, and then those will be equal and ready for us to drop the cam in, grab our good set of feeler gauges, and we will see how close that rocker is sitting to the cam or far. The goal is not to get it too loose or you'll beat up your shims, you'll beat up the rockers, lifters, everything like that. It's not good, it's loud, it's noisy, it's clattering. But you also don't want it too tight because, well, too loose and nobody knows, too tight and everybody will know. Yeah, it's gonna heat up, expand, and that gap that you're giving it is to keep it from expanding into each other permanently and opening the valve or causing damage. Guide, get yourself a nice piece of sticky sandpaper, a very flat place on a nice flat table. Then we will get this second one as close as we possibly can to 2.85. It's currently 2.89. Bottom already looks like it's been beaten up by a valve for quite a while. This was a shim I already had. All right, let's go try it. And the final one on this side, as you can see in there, because I can't, with pressure on the base, we are right at 0. Now, let's gently go ahead, lift and turn, set it on to the other shim right there. A little pressure on the base, and we're zeroed. The intake side is officially ready to drop in the cam. Let's torque this cam down. It is the same direction as the head studs in terms of center out. That being said, we're gonna start with like 1.4 foot-pounds, then 4.3 in the snugging, and then once it's down tight, we're gonna do a torque sequence as well. I don't trust aluminum, so I always use torque wrenches. 4.3 foot-pounds, 6.7 foot-pounds, 8.7. This cam is in and torqued to spec. it's time to start spinning it around and putting a feeler gauge in and checking its clearance to the rockers. So our 0.015 looks to be what fits in there. I believe that's 0.016. Personally, it's just a hair loose. For this one, the 0.015 doesn't even fit. That is definitely a 0.013. So I went ahead and pulled out a 0.178, or basically 0.18, and that fits perfectly. Which means this one, we need the shim height increased, and this one, we need to shave the shims down. And there we have it, gang. That is the last one I had to reach, 0.203. So across the board, we have 0.18 to 0.19. So we're gonna have to bring the shims up here. That's a little loose. We're gonna shave the shims just a hair, and that one's gonna be perfect. We need some bigger shims there. All right, let's get started on the exhaust side now. We will pull this cam out, swap those shims over, and do the exact same thing. All right, these are the ones we just cut. Lift that up, drag it on over. Zeroed. So we are good to go. I'm done with the shims and I'm done with math, and I got on Mozworks website and I ordered every one of the extras we need because there were a couple 2.5s and 6s and stuff like that, smaller ones. So that means I don't have to sit here and grind a 3.0 all the way down. I can, though, make some spares and throw them in the bin just so I have one extra for each of those cylinders in case we spit one at the track. One way we're gonna keep from spitting them at the track is by going ahead and doing a dual guide setup. And best way to do that, honestly, with a bunch of sanding tools here, is just a good old-fashioned tabletop grinder. You can see the OEM side, and I've gone ahead and just taken off a little bit of material on that side. Factory side, a little bit of play, right? See? You wanna have that on this side as well. You don't want it to be really tight to where if it heats up and expands, it could seal on this rocker, because then it would eject with it when it came up. That's on there nicely. Just needs a little more wiggle room. Great news, guys. Shims are here, which means we can get started fully assembling this head. We had to wait a little bit for Mozworks because each one of these was custom cut. But now we have a full set of shims and extras. And then we also have the, of course, old ones over here as well that we can use. So we need to go through our lists and we need to organize all of our shims. Once we have everything in place here, we can transfer them into their homes. Then we can drop the cams in and measure with our feeler gauges, make sure everything's good. If we're last between 0.014 to 0.016, then we will call this done. Okay, going for 2.78. Right there. Ta-da. Now let's do one final measurement of every one of them. And once those check out, we will be good to install them. Let's go ahead and do the dreaded valve lash. I've got a variety of feeler gauges out here. The thing came apart, but it's actually better this way because you can grab like a 0.15 millimeter, and that's what we're shooting for here, anywhere in the range of 0.14 to 0.17. And that is just, that could be a 0.16, but a 0.16 doesn't fit, so 0.155. We have a 0.16, 0.15, 0.16, 0.15. I'm gonna call that done. If it opens up over the course of a few events and starts to get noisy, I'll shave those shims a little, but honestly, that's within spec. It's time to knock out the exhaust side, and then I will report back with those numbers and we can call this job done. And we are installed. I'm gonna go ahead and check these lashes one more time. Then we can pick this chain up, pull the motor up to TDC, set the other gear on and the chain, making sure to stand the lobes perfectly vertical just in case for this last round, because on the Tomei directions it shows that. And we have a perfect 0.15 on that second one that was too small initially, which means we can set that other gear, set the chain, set timing, and call this done. Although we have the markings down there, and they do show you -5 degrees and then TDC itself, I want to go ahead and put in a checker and a dial gauge here so that we make sure we are exactly at top dead center when we set these chains. It can be off a few degrees. So take one of these, see how it works. We've used these in other videos for the BMW M52 timing, but they share a spark plug, so I know they share a thread pitch. What we're looking for is this needle to start moving as I get near TDC, stop, and then slowly start drawing back. There's gonna be about a degree of dwell in there where the piston stays still and then continues back down, and we wanna nail it right in there. Okay, so you can see we're already getting close there. Oh, you saw that? It started to go back right there. Here, let's bring it back just a hair. Okay, and you can watch again. Right there. See it stop? That's our TDC. And look where we are on the marker. Just past it. Just a hair past it. And it's finally at actual TDC. Timing chain tensioner is in. I pressed slightly to turn it over and heard it click and lock out. So this chain is officially tight. Look at that. Nice and good. Okay. Oh man, that always gives me so much anxiety. I'm gonna call that done. We got our rockers leveled, we got our cams lashed, our solid lifters are good to go. We installed the cams and timed the motor. I really appreciate you hanging out for this one. Our next episode after this is going to be setting up our fuel system, and once that is done, we're gonna do a first start video on that Link ECU. So y'all stick around. I appreciate you watching. Have a great day.